Hi there, it's April 13th and time for Proverbs 13. So, deep into the Proverbs now. Okay, he starts by touching on this again. He's done this like 6 or 7 times, right? A wise son heeds his father's instruction, but a mocker does not respond to rebukes. Some kids don't listen, all right? Hey, from the fruit of their lips, people enjoy good things, but the unfaithful have an appetite for violence, right? What you say, okay? If you say only kind things, kindness will come back to you, all right? Otherwise, you have an appetite for violence. It's looking for trouble. Those who guard their lips preserve their lives, but those who speak rashly will come to ruin. Okay? Let's just highlight these. Right? Keep your mouth shut most of the time, right? Or come to ruin. Or a sluggard's appetite is never filled, but the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied, right? Diligence. Good thing to have. 5. The righteous hate what is false, but the wicked make themselves a stench and bring shame on themselves. I like it. I like it. Wicked people stink, right? Wicked people stink and bring shame on themselves. Righteousness guards the person of integrity. At that. But wickedness overthrows the sinner. Yeah, usually. I always like this one. One person pretends to be rich yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor yet has great wealth. Yeah. Now, this is true. A lot of people out there pretending they're rich, right? Living a facade, driving a big car, and wearing fancy clothes, but they have no food at home and can't afford their rent because they're trying to impress people they don't even know, right? Lots of that out there. And there are also people, and I have known some of these people, that pretend to be poor, yet have great wealth because they are stingy, okay? They are stingy, right? They drive old beat-up cars, and they wear old clothes, and they don't shower very often, but they have millions of dollars in the bank. People like that. A person's riches may ransom their life, but the poor cannot respond to threatening rebukes. They don't have to, right? Over here says the poor cannot hear the reproach, right? For his poverty, he is not able to escape the threatenings which the cruel oppressors use against him, right? They seem to pick on poor people, don't they? Rich people can use their money. It all comes crashing down, though, sooner or later. 9. The light of the righteous shines brightly, but the lamp of the wicked is snuffed out. Highlighting all these righteous ones again, right? The lamp of the wicked is snuffed out. It's allergy season down here in Georgia, and I am under full attack by the allergies. 10. Where there is strife, there is pride, but wisdom is found in those who take advice, right? Where there is strife, there is pride. You like that? I like that. Only by pride doth a man make contention. When as every man contendeth to have the preeminence, and will not give place to another, right? Pride just means you're prideful, means you think you know everything and you won't listen to everybody. You won't listen to anybody, and you're going to let everybody know how smart you are, right? That causes strife. Wisdom is found in those who take advice, right? You should always take advice, okay? I've taken advice from children, because children are wiser than you think they are. 11. Dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. That dishonest money, right? It never lasts, does it? Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. When the desire cometh, it is as a tree of life. Hope deferred. Someday, right? Whoever scorns instruction will pay for it, but whoever respects a command is rewarded. You need to listen, right? Listen. 14. The teaching of the wise is a fountain of life, turning a person from the snares of death. All right. Teaching. Okay. You listen. Take advice. Listen to instruction. Always learning. Lots of that in the Bible, right? You read that every day and listen to these instructions. Right? 15. Good judgment wins favor, but the way of the unfaithful leads to their destruction. Okay? The meaning of the Hebrew phrase is uncertain, they say. Good understanding maketh acceptable, but the way of the disobedient is hated. Right? 16. All who are prudent act with knowledge, but fools expose their folly or foolishness. Okay? The prudent protects themselves through knowledge. Over here it says, every wise man will work by knowledge, but a fool will spread abroad folly. Right? Act with knowledge, right? Stick with what you know, okay? 17, a wicked messenger falls into trouble, but a trustworthy envoy brings healing. Right? There are lots of wicked messengers out now, right? Like they call them wicked messengers. What do we call it now? Fake news, right? Those are wicked messengers bringing fake news, right? Inflating a story and lying about stuff to try and change the opinions of the masses. And these people fall into trouble, okay? Sooner or later they get caught. That's always been a problem, okay? 18, whoever disregards discipline comes to poverty and shame, but whoever heeds correction is honored, right? Listen. You need to listen. Mm-hmm. And if somebody tells you something, Scripture should back it up, right? The longing fulfilled is sweet to the soul, but fools detest turning from evil, right? 19, they do. You can see that in the world now. They like their evil. They're not going to get away from it, and you can't get them away from it, right? Right? It's easier to lie to people than to convince them they have been lied to. 20. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. That's a good one, right? You want to become wise? Hang around wise people, right? Hang around people that you look up to. Right? Companion of fools. You hang around these people, you're going to get hurt, right? 21. Trouble pursues the sinner, but the righteous are rewarded with good things. Righteous means always following God and always endeavoring to be on the right side of things. This is a famous verse, right? That has been misused often. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. Yeah. Job. Yeah. It's weird that it takes Job over here, right? What did Job do? He lost everything. Okay. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children or grandchildren, right? Their inheritance should be faith, righteousness, right? Knowledge of Jesus, okay? That's the inheritance you leave your grandchildren. Money will not last, okay? So the inheritance, and Solomon talks all over the Bible as in Solomon and Proverbs as money being a result of seeking wisdom, not the other way around, okay? You teach your grandchildren wisdom, right? Stuff they can keep, and everything else will follow. That's the inheritance you leave your grandchildren, right? He talks all about wisdom, and when he puts this in here, he's talking about wisdom, not money, okay? 23, an unplowed field produces food for the poor, but injustice sweeps it away. You know, there is no shortages of anything in the world. Okay, God made enough for everybody. There's enough water, there's enough oil, there's enough food, but evil people, injustice sweeps it away, right? They want you to think there's just a little bit of everything so they can meter it out to you and charge you by the inch, right? When there is plenty. Think about that. Injustice sweeps it away. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but one who loves their children is careful to discipline them, right? Spare the rod and spoil the child. You heard that? If you don't teach your kids, which includes a spanking, when they are young, when they are old, you will not be able to control them, and it will be too late. Okay? You got to get to them while they are young. By the time they're 8 years old, everything should be set, right, as far as how they act and the way they think. And they will eliminate their parents, okay? The easiest thing is to be the person you want your children to be, right? And 25, the righteous eat to their heart's content, but the stomach of the wicked goes hungry. It's interesting, huh? So, that's 13. Let's put all these righteous ones together. The righteous hate what is false, right? But the wicked people stink. Righteousness guards the person of integrity. That righteousness means following and being under the Lord, and he will protect you. Yeah. The light of the righteous shines brightly. Get that? The righteous are rewarded with good things. And the righteous eat to their heart's content. You like that? Cool. What else do we highlight in here? And this is important. From the fruit of their lips, people enjoy good things, but the unfaithful have an appetite for violence. Those who guard their lips preserve their lives. Those who speak rashly will come to ruin. Right. There's a note over here. If he uses his tongue to God's glory and the profit of his neighbor, God shall bless him. Right. Fruit of their lips, people enjoy good things, right? So over in the 1599 Geneva Bible. If you use your tongue, we'll just read it again. If he uses his tongue to God's glory, right, and the profit of his neighbor, which means, help your neighbor, help the poor, God shall bless him. Okay? What you say, the things you say, right? You say only kind things, only good things, only edifying and uplifting things. You will enjoy good things. Okay? Those who guard their lips preserve their lives. Right? Know when to keep your mouth shut, which is most of the time. Okay? 7's highlighted. One person pretends to be rich, yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor, yet has great wealth. I've known both kinds of people. You probably have too. Right? I mean, you may not recognize a rich person who's pretending to be poor, driving an old car and wearing old clothes, and they live in a little house. But one of the ways you know them is they never ask for anything, okay? Never ask for anything. They just don't want to share anything they have. Very miserable people, okay? Miserable people. And where there is strife, there is pride. But wisdom is found in those who take advice. I like that. Where there is strife, there is pride. Only by pride doth a man make contention. Right? When as every man contendeth to have the preeminence and will not give place to another. That's pride, right? Your pride is when I know it, you don't know it, you can't tell me, right? Because I know everything. Pride, arrogance, conceit. Right? God hates those things. Wisdom is found in those who take advice. Right? Somebody wants to give you advice, listen. You don't have to take it. You don't have to go back and tell him you're wrong, you're crazy. You can just say, thank you for that. Okay? Sometimes I say out of the mouths of babes, like I said, I have taken good advice from children. Right? And they just ask you, why can't you do this thing? And you think about it, why can't you? 20 is highlighted. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Right? Other verses in the psalmist says, iron sharpens iron. Okay? If you want to be wise, hang around wise people. Okay? Hang around people that pray and read the Bible and have integrity. You can learn from that. Okay? And that person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. Right? And the riches of the sinner is laid up for the just. Right? More Job. Right? Knowledge. Okay. Wisdom. Righteousness. That's the inheritance. Right? And it says all over Proverbs, if you leave wisdom and knowledge, right? If you instill that in your grandchildren, wealth will come. Okay? Wealth follows that. Important stuff. Okay? And 24, whoever spares the rod hates their children. Okay? But the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. Okay? If you're letting your kids get away with murder, you hate them. Okay? So when they grow older, they won't get away with this stuff. And they'll end up in prison. They'll end up dead. They'll end up maimed. You have to teach them when they're young. And whatever it takes to do that. Okay? So there you go. That's Proverbs 13. Okay? Getting into the good stuff now. Stay tuned later. I think we are in Luke 12. Okay? Through the New Testament in a year. In the third gospel now. And soon we'll start the fourth gospel, and then the good stuff will start, right? So stay tuned for that. Give us a like if you think about it. But tomorrow we'll continue. See ya.